Now, back to our top story this evening. The US has responded to Iran's claims of a draft deal, calling it a complete fabrication. President Trump has said in his cabinet meeting that Iran very much wants to make a deal, but so far the US was not satisfied with what is currently being offered. So let's speak to a former US ambassador, senior diplomat, now distinguished fellow at the Atlantic Council, Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley. Thank you very much for being with us. And I just wonder, first of all, what you make of what is going on. We've had Iran giving their version of a draft deal. We've had the White House saying that it's a total fabrication. And now we have Donald Trump's version. Iran wants a deal, but so far we're not satisfied with it. What do you think is going on?
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. Well, I would say that last part of the president's statement that he's not yet satisfied and that the Iranians want to make a deal is a truthful statement. Iran certainly wants to make a deal. There are pressures there as well as in the United States. The economic most urgently in Iran. The blockade is having an impact. The war has had an impact. We see that they have released at least part of the internet back into public domain, and that is because the lack of the internet was harming small businesses that use it, communications that use it. So the Iranians do have pressures on them. But in spite of the bluster from the president, do not doubt, if he says he doesn't care about the midterms, his Republican Party certainly does. The pressures are on both sides, without a doubt.
Yes, well, he did say that he didn't care about the midterms. But as you say, Republicans would have another view. Isn't the truth that Iran has, you know, most of the cards now? It has time on its side. It has control over the Strait of Hormuz at the moment. And it knows, crucially, that President Trump wants out of this war now.
Indeed. But President Trump wants out of this war with the ability to say that he has accomplished something. The deal that has been leaked, and certainly what the Iranians shared, does not allow President Trump to point to any sort of win, anything that suggests that the United States and those allies who were concerned about the nuclear file should have any more confidence in our situation now than before the war. And in fact, the war has cost the United States, it has cost the world economy, it has particularly cost our allies in the Gulf region. So President Trump is wrestling with that, and certainly hoping that his negotiators will somehow pull some kind of rabbit out of the hat, but it is highly unlikely. The momentum is... Go ahead.
Well, no, you say it's highly unlikely. So do you think that, you know, to put it baldly, that that he's going to lose this war? People say that Iran never wins a war, but they always always lose a war, but always win the negotiation. Is he going to lose the negotiation?
From his perspective, it likely will feel that way, yes, because Iran does have the ability to strategically press the world and press the United States with retaliation. Looking at all the options that the military has given him for how to resume a hot conflict, how to resume military action, there are places, there are targets that can be hit, but will it change the strategic calculation or balance? No, they won't. As long as the Iranians can hold out, and we know that they are willing to have their people in extraordinarily difficult circumstances in order to hold on, then the United States cannot win it militarily and can only get that strait open, which everyone wants, everyone needs, and deal with the nuclear file later, as has been discussed in the last several weeks as we've heard leaks about what might be and what might not be in this deal.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, because I'm interested in that because I mean, he can't really claim the Strait of Hormuz opening up is a victory because the Strait of Hormuz was open before the war, at the beginning of the war. What do you think he needs, at a minimum, to claim victory in this war, to persuade people that this war was worthwhile?
I believe that if he gets more time than the Obama agreement had for uh, the Iranians agreeing not to enrich. If we can reach a compromise on where the highly enriched uranium goes, I know he has said he wouldn't be satisfied if it went to Russia or China, but perhaps it goes to the IAEA, a neutral force, as opposed to a country that's more aligned with one side or the other. There are definitely ways forward, and there are elements that he might be able to point to that are stronger than, or at least lengthier than, what President Obama got. But overall, no, the strait opening does not help at all, because the attack on Iran is what got the strait closed, and there's no getting around that.
Do you think he regrets starting this war?
I have no doubt that he does at this point. If somehow he can pull it out, then he might be feeling a bit better about it. But whoever persuaded him that this was going to be quick and easy and decisive is certainly not someone who is in his happy space in his head right now.
Just a thought on Lebanon, and how much of a problem do you think what Israel is currently doing in Lebanon, and they are insisting that they will carry on in an attempt to destroy Hezbollah? How much of a problem could that be for the broader deal?
Well, it does depend on how serious Iran has been with including a ceasefire in Lebanon. Certainly, the Iranians are largely responsible for the ceasefire that was announced in the first place. But of course, it has not been adhered to, and Lebanese are dying left, right, and center, as we see. In the end, if it's enough for President Trump, we have heard him say, quote, "The prime minister will do whatever I tell him to," end quotation. So if he's serious about that, and he does have much weight in Israel and over the prime minister, particularly before elections, then he will do what he needs to do to get the prime minister to adhere to what the United States agrees to with Iran.
Very interesting. Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley, thank you very much for coming on the programme. I appreciate it. Thank you.